Hi guys, Katie Mild. Welcome to this week's Money Minute. So, this week we're going to be talking all about getting your partner involved with your money making decisions. So, one of the top concerns, complaints, whatever you want to call it, one of the top things I hear from individuals I work with is either they're gung ho, but they can't get their partner involved, or their partner is more gung ho and on board about money than they are. Here's the deal. If you are in a relationship and going through life with somebody, and if you have combined finances to reflect that, if you are not on the same page, you've got to get that flipped immediately. The number one reason why couples either divorce or break up and go their separate ways, it's because of money issues. Bottom line, if you are not on the same page of how you spend, how you save, how you invest, and how you grow wealth, things will fall apart eventually. So, I want to talk to you a little bit about some tips for bringing your partner on board, making sure that you are in the right place, that you're in the same place, and that you are working towards the same goals. So, let me start with a little bit of story time. When my own husband, Andy, and I, when we were dating and knew that things were serious and heading that way, knowing we're probably going to get married, we're probably going to build a life together, we started talking finances pretty early. So, my first tip would be, if you're in a committed relationship and you think that it's going that way towards marriage, start talking about money now. It is not something that needs to wait until after the wedding. It needs to happen immediately. You have to start to learn each other and how you approach decision making, how you approach money challenges, tough money decisions, and you have to figure out, is your partner more of a saver? Are they more of a spender by nature? Are you more of a saver or more of a spender? And how will those dynamics play together? So start the conversation early and often. Now, Andy and I have gotten our finances to a great spot, and we've gotten the way we approach money to a great spot, but it wasn't always that way. And we used to have more money fights as we learned each other, as we learned our styles, what was important to us, what were our priorities. It took time to get to the amazing place that we're at now. So one of the things that we started doing very early in our relationship, again, when we knew things were serious and we were going towards marriage, we started having weekly money check-ins. Now, I was super into the weekly check-in because I'm a huge numbers nerd. I love this stuff. I could do it all the time, 24/7. So to me, a weekly check-in meeting sounded great. To my husband, while very responsible and while he wanted to be involved, he didn't want to do it weekly at first. So we had to go back and forth and figure out, well, what works for us? Ultimately, we settled on weekly. Now we do it more like monthly. You have to find a good, consistent schedule to have a money meeting with your partner that works for you guys and your dynamic. I would also recommend make this meeting fun. So we actually got this tip from another set of couple friends of ours. When they would get together and have their weekly money meetings, they would put the kids to bed, turn the TV off, focus exclusively on each other, and they would pour a drink. They were really into cocktails. So they would pour, at that time, they were really into Moscow Mules. So they would pour Moscow Mules, sit down, and go over their numbers together. So Andy and I started to do the same thing. I'd pour a glass of wine, he'd grab a beer. When I was pregnant, we were having these meetings, I would have hot chocolate and he would have a beer. And so since then, as a joke, we have dubbed our meetings our hot chocolate meetings. So we know when we're having a hot chocolate meeting, that means that we're getting together to talk about the state of our finances and what we want to do with our money goals. So make it fun. Make it a ritual. Give it a nickname. Make it something that you and your partner can both on some level look forward to. Even if one of you or both of you are kind of dreading sitting down with your numbers, even if you're not in a fun financial situation and you're trying to work your way out of something, incentivize it. Make it fun, make it enjoyable, and make it a team effort. I look forward to our hot chocolate meetings because it gives us a chance to reconnect as a couple, to review our goals, and have a fun drink while we're at it, even though sometimes it's not hot chocolate anymore. So, pick a consistent time, make it fun, eliminate distractions. If you have kids, make sure this is after the kids have gone to bed, or maybe you hire a babysitter and they get them out of the house for a few hours. Make it a time when the kids aren't around, the TV's off, music's off, you guys are focused on each other and focused on talking and digging deep into your numbers. Okay, so minimize all of the distractions that you have. What I would recommend doing when you sit down to have this meeting, make sure both of you come prepared. That means having your bank account details at the ready, having your spreadsheets at the ready, and we'll talk about a spreadsheet in just a second. It means having all of your accounts, all of your numbers. If you keep things on your laptop, if you keep paper copies, have everything at the ready, at the table when you sit down together so that you're not losing time getting up and trying to track down, oh, what was our mortgage balance? Oh, I got to go find that account now. None of that. You want to come to these meetings prepared so you can be efficient, you have an agenda, you stick to it, you stay focused, and you tackle the tasks at hand, okay? I would also recommend start your meeting off on a high note. Start off with wins. If you and your partner are working through eliminating debt, talk about what progress has been made on your debt since the last meeting. Maybe you've eliminated one of your credit cards completely. Maybe you've paid a significant chunk down. Maybe one of your loans is totally gone. Celebrate that win, cheers your happy drinks, and then dig into what the other work you still have to do. Start off at a high note and take time to celebrate those wins and those milestones, because wherever you are on your financial journey, you need to celebrate the good things that are happening along the way, okay? So then, after you've reviewed your wins for the week, for the month, whatever your interval is, then dig into what are our current financial challenges. So again, maybe you are working on debt, and now that you've paid off one credit card, now you guys are going to refocus efforts to the next credit card. Maybe you're trying to save aggressively for a down payment on a house. What's the progress? What else can you do to maybe up that savings contribution so you can save that much faster? Dig into whatever challenges you have at that time, okay? And that's where the bulk of your meeting is going to be focused. Whether it's reviewing your budget, if you went over, tweaking numbers, that's where you're really going to be digging in and strategizing on where you need to refocus your savings or debt elimination efforts. And then finally, end the meeting, leave at least 5 to 10 minutes of your meeting time, end it with dreaming. And it sounds hokey, but this is so critically important. End every meeting, just as we start on a high, and then we dig into some of the meat. Then we want to end the meeting on a happy, uplifting, positive note to re-inspire you. Because sometimes especially if you're working through a difficult financial situation, it can feel like a slog. It can feel never-ending, or it can feel sad, or depressing, or frustrating. So you want to refocus on the positive, on what's working and what you hope to achieve once you get to the end of your tunnel with whatever goal you're working on. So it could be maybe you guys are planning a big trip for when you get out of debt, right? So what's your travel fund budget? And have you started to figure out maybe a date and time of when you're going to buy those plane tickets for whatever that trip looks like? Or maybe you're looking at purchasing a second home, a vacation home, right? Review some of those long-term goals and get refocused on the positive and what all of this means. Because if you're working through a really, really tough challenge, you need to see that carrot. You need to see that light at the end of the tunnel so you can remember exactly why you're staying so focused on your money goals as you work through. So don't forget to add a component of dreaming. Finally, the last tip I'll say, use a Google Sheet. Use a Google spreadsheet to track your dynamic budget, because a budget is always dynamic. It's a living, breathing thing. It's always changing. If you have a Google spreadsheet you both have access to, you can track those changes. You can both look at it real time, and all of your changes and edits save real time. I definitely recommend having a Google Sheet for your budget, and bring that Google Sheet with you as you track your budget, your net worth, and any other financial goals that you have. So one more tip. I know I said I was done, but one more bonus tip. When you approach these meetings, sometimes when you talk about money, it can get really emotional, and emotions can be incredibly heightened. Remember, you're in a partnership. You're working towards a common goal. And even if you maybe are feeling really, really intense emotions, frustration, anger, any of those things, make sure you take a deep breath. Make sure that you remind yourself that you are in a partnership and in a team. Take turns talking, take turns listening, and hear the other person. It is so important that you approach your money challenges together and not as adversaries, because you've got to work through your issues together. That's how you get stronger as a couple. That's how your finances grow together. And that's how you see incredible leverage to building long-term wealth. So that is it. It is so important that if you have a life situation where you have a partner, you've got to be on the same pages with your finances. So have these meetings. Call it a hot chocolate meeting, call it a martini meeting, call it a beers, brews, and budget meeting, whatever you want to do, but make it fun, make it approachable, and always take it from the aspect of it's our partnership taking on the world because you're in this together, and that's how you grow and thrive. Thank you so much for listening. Tell me if you are in a partnership, how do you and your partner, how do you balance your finances? How do you handle it? Are you both involved? Does one tend to take the lead more than the other? Tell me in the comments below. Ring the bell to subscribe to this channel and let me know what are some of your other money concerns. What's on your mind? I always read your comments. I'm always listening. In the meantime, have a great weekend and we'll see you next time. Bye.